So I want to talk a little bit about Islam. And I want to try and do so in a rational way that will hopefully inspire conversation. Because I do have Muslim viewers who watch my videos, and I'm sure with the title that I put on this video, I'm going to get other people who are Muslim watching this. And I want to put this out there to encourage conversation. In fact, before I get into the video, I invite anyone out there who is Muslim, who wants to have rational discussion about this, to contact me, and we will see about doing a live podcast where we can actually discuss this in greater depth than I can in a video that's just a few minutes long or in a comment section. So I want to get back to this idea of Islam. A lot of people call Islam a religion of peace. Yet so many people are committing atrocious acts in the name of Islam. You know, we have active terrorism all over the world. We have beheadings. We have women being stoned and raped. We have these horrible, atrocious acts popping up all over the world, and people saying they are doing it in the name of Islam. Yet people who are Muslim, and people, especially in this country, who maybe not are Muslim but are very PC, very politically correct, continue to say, well, that's not Muslims. Those are just crazy people. Those are extremists. You know, it's gotten so far that, you know, we can't call them Muslim extremists anymore. We have to call them extremists, which is a little unfair. If a Christian did something like this, they would be called a Christian extremist, and rightfully so. I mean, we need to know what motivates the people that are doing the things they're doing so we can better understand how to prevent that type of thing from happening again. I mean, it's just common sense. It doesn't mean that necessarily the religion itself is bad. But it just means you have to know that this religion is motivating certain people in a certain way, so what can we do to change it? Now I'm going to throw a couple of numbers out there at you. By some polling accounts that were done not too long ago, it was estimated that in Muslim countries, about 79% of the Muslims in those countries were still in favor of the death penalty for things like, well, insulting Islam or trying to leave the Islamic religion. Basically kind of adhering to traditional or the older tenets of Sharia law. Now that's pretty crazy when you look at it from a modern perspective. Almost 80% of people in a certain religion in these countries that are dominated by that religion believe in the death penalty for insulting a religion. I mean, the Christian religion gets insulted every day, Judaism gets insulted every day, Buddhism gets insulted every day. I mean, every other religion in the world gets insulted every day, yet they don't preach or don't want to go out and kill people for doing it. They simply let it roll off their back and they move on. That seems like a problem to me. Another thing we have to point out is there are estimates that upwards of 300 million people, 300 million Muslims in the world, which is still less than 20% of the Muslims worldwide, but 300 million are people who would consider themselves extremists. Now, these may not be the people that are actually committing these acts, but they wholeheartedly support the beheadings and the terrorist acts and the stoning and the raping. They support this. Now, think about that. Upwards of 300 million, slightly less than 20% of all the Muslims worldwide. That's a lot of people. 300 million is a decent-sized country. In fact, that's almost the size of the United States as far as population. Imagine a country the size of the United States that was full of people who thought it was okay to kill someone for insulting their religion or for simply just not believing in the same religion that they do. To me, that's a problem. Now, I'm not going to leave Christians out of this because I know that's an argument that's going to get thrown up. Oh, well, what about all the bad things people have done in the name of Christianity? Yes, it's true. But it's also been a long time since the Christian religion as a whole has inspired that many people, or that percentage of its population, to do evil things like this. Okay, we're talking about back in the Crusades, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And this is where we're at with the modern Muslim religion today. It seems to be back where Christianity was hundreds of years ago. And to me, that's a problem. So what are we kind of getting at? What's the roundabout point we're getting to here? And that is that there is a problem. And as any good alcoholic or drug addict will tell you, the first step to solving a problem is admitting you actually have a problem. And that seems to be something that a lot of people who are far too PC, or the Muslim community, at least in this country as a whole, it seems like this is something they can't admit. They don't admit there's a problem. I mean, time after time, I've had discussions with people who are Muslim about topics like this, whether it's, you know, actually, you know, face-to-face or on YouTube or other forums online. And they say, oh yes, those people are crazy, they don't represent the majority of Muslims, and they're just extremists and they're nut jobs. But they never admit that maybe when almost 20% of your religion believes in these things and says that the religion itself is inspiring them to do these things, maybe there's a problem that needs to be looked at within the religious organization itself, something that needs to be corrected. If you truly believe that these people are nut jobs, then you have to look at their motivation and have to see what you need to do to correct that, to prevent that behavior. That's just common sense. So that's basically what I'm getting at here, guys. The Muslim community as a whole and just the world as a whole, especially those who are far too politically correct, need to admit there is a problem here. Whether you want to say, yes, Islam is a religion of peace, but there's just these bad eggs, you still have to admit that Islam in some way is inspiring these bad eggs to do these bad things. You have to admit there's a problem. So that's it, guys. As I said, I encourage responses from you guys, especially people out there who might be Muslim, who have an opinion on this, obviously. And as I said before, if you want to have a more detailed discussion on this, get a hold of me, private message, or in the comments down below. So that's it, guys. I appreciate you watching. I look forward to all your comments and questions. We'll talk to you guys later.